Hey grinders, Silvermord here, bringing you the V4 first look recap. V4 is an open world MMORPG brought to you by Nexon and Natgames. It's available on iOS, Android, and PC via crossplay. Its worldwide launch was on July 22nd of 2020. It was available previous to that for limited regions. So let's get in and talk about some of the details and time I spent in the game here. So first off, the game is billed as an open world MMORPG. I would dispute that personally. This feels more like a theme park MMORPG to me. The main XP you get is from the primary story quest line, not from open world side quests or questing in general and or mob grinding. Mob grinding you'll see in the background of the video here today is in a zone known as the Abyss, where mobs have elevated XP. You have limited time availability in these Abyss zones. You can purchase additional time, it looks like, through their cash shop by buying coupons for entry into this. Seen other MMOs with very similar models to this. The gameplay itself seems pretty clunky overall. It was much better, I found, to simply let the gameplay itself, like all mobile games nowadays, it has, autoplay. It was far more efficient at combat and questing than playing it myself, which, takes away some of the, I think, game aspect for me personally, and turns it more into, you're watching an interactive movie or, there's something along that lines. Let's go ahead and dive into my list of pros and cons here. Start off with the pros. There are a lot of collectibles in V4. Take a look at just a couple of these as we go through. So there's a series of companions that you can collect. All of these that I received so far were from the main story quest. They just were given to me along the way from doing the quest. You can combine them to level them up. They have unique stories between combinations of them that give you additional stats and some coin reward as you get them. We also have research, killing. We got planes. I think of more of these maxed out here. Yep. These give you rewards for each, basically killing a certain number of monsters. You collect a dropping called markings and you analyze them. And as you get enough, you unlock these stats for your character. So there's, if you care, there's a whole bunch of these, right? Throughout the game, get you some stats there. You have imprinting. They call these demon stones with little, I don't know, we call them shards within each of these that you earn imprint stones to unlock these for additional character stats. We have these outer pieces, which also have been given via quest rewards thus far. And those unlock again further stats. You can just click auto imprint here and you'll start, going through. We have item sets, but item sets aren't gear you wear in this case. Item sets are gear that you find, here's an instance, and sacrifice to this list. Once you complete a set, you gain an additional stat for your character. The list goes on with the collectible or card game style aspects in the game. The autoplay does seem pretty solid. For the autoplay games I've played, this one seems on point. You only need to interact with it for basically quest transitions. And if you want to pick up additional quests like this here, I can go ahead and grab this quest if I like. Eliminate 90 monsters. Now I can see I got the little quest indicator and it's going to go ahead and do that for me. You got it highlighted. You can see the highlight indication here. That means that the autoplay is active for that thing and it's just going to keep doing them. And now the autoplay there is not smart enough to realize that it's already in a group of monsters that, are valid for that and wants to run off to its known predetermined location to do them. Often you'll find that is crowded and camped. So the game has a cash shop. However, it seems like a lot of the items within the cash shop can be gotten through gameplay as well, just with extended time. For instance, one of the reasons to grind in the Abyss, aside from the XP, is that you can get enhancement scrolls so you can enhance your weapons with, versus having to buy them in the cash shop. So that's an option here. The main storyline is voiced. It's always a nice thing to see. The graphics, they look pretty good for a mobile crossplay game to me. This is running on all maxed out graphics here on my PC. not having any issues running with it, and it looks pretty decent. So that's a good positive. The other nice thing about this is with the crossplay built in is the emulator is built in. So you don't have to grab something like BlueStacks to run this on your PC. You notice down in the lower left-hand corner here, we can see the clue this is running on an emulator where we see a battery and a radio signal meter here. All right, so on to some cons. First con is the controls. Controls are fairly typical MMO controls, radial menu with, tap buttons to do the things. These seemed really clunky and were hard to activate to me, even clicking on them. Clicking on them, you get some weird indicator that says hold. I don't know if that's some sort of queuing system or whatnot, but your skills don't want to activate instantly. There's a weapon scroll. Actually, it was defense scroll. It makes PvP very clunky as well. A little bit of PvP we did. That brings us to another con. There was no good way that I saw to gauge the relative strength of the person you were attempting to attack. So there's several times I'd attack a player and I'd see nothing but parries and dodges from them, to me indicating that they're a much higher geared or higher leveled character, even though they're in the same low level area attempting to grind through the mobs. It could be for any number of reasons. They're trying to grab their markings, or they just don't want to get killed or whatever. The other thing that I noticed with PvP, now this may be because I'm playing a melee character, but it looked like even the ranged characters have a fairly limited range. It's very easy to simply run away from PvP. There are a number of times where I would engage on a target and it takes forever to kill them. Again, it could be due to level differences or whatever. Chasing around even while they're AFK, beating on them for 2 minutes, they realize they're getting attacked and then they just run away. And they go to a safe zone and there's nothing you can do about it. Didn't seem to have that problem in Lineage 2. Even when I was playing a healer there, PvP felt much smoother and easier to deal with. I don't know what's going on with this game. The PvP here too is only in open world areas. There was no arena that I found. There might be some guild versus guild style PvP later. Probably that's based on players pushing that though. I didn't see any mechanic or system for that. Another con for me, this was also a pro that I listed, right? The autoplay, it's just more efficient than playing it yourself, which turns the game, like I said, into an interactive movie. For me personally, that's not what I look for in a game. I want to be active and involved in the game. The idea that an autoplay system is more efficient than me at playing the game is annoying, right? Like, I mean, there are a lot of times that PCs can, be more efficient, or programs, let's say, can be more efficient than a human at doing something. In a game, that's not something you necessarily, as the player, want to feel. So that was a downside for me. Another downside to me, the cash shop. It's a PvP based game. I understand it's free to play cash shop. That's a pretty normal model. But the cash shop is fairly pay to win. It has enhancement scrolls, imprint items, a number of things to expedite your power progression ahead of other players, making it very easy to outpace a regular standard player that's not paying anything for the game. So for me, for V4, I think this is going to be a pass for me. I don't believe I'm going to spend any more time in here. I was interested in maybe seeing some of the upper level stuff. If we look at my characters, take a look at rankings, see, there's characters approaching level 70 right now. I'm currently at level 34. The CP is broken the 150,000 mark. I'm down at, 13,000 combat power. And this character, right, if we look at that, wasn't even the top ranked, top leveled character. So that's either extremely lucky on drops, or more than likely they've bought, a bunch of stuff to increase their combat power. It was not a bad 4 hours of a first look though. I mean, it wasn't a terrible game. Certainly there's enjoyment to be found here. You could probably play this game happily for free if you didn't worry too much about the PvP aspects, and just, did your thing. You'd be just fine playing this game. All right, grinders, that's it for our first look at V4. Thank you for watching and happy grinding.